Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something straight. No sugarcoating. Most people are exhausted, frustrated, and confused, not because they don't work hard, but because they're chasing the wrong thing. They're chasing money, fast money, easy money, overnight money. And that mindset, it's breaking them. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. Money doesn't come first. Skill does. We live in a world where everyone wants the result, but nobody wants the process. People want the car, the lifestyle, the freedom, but they don't want the hours, the reps, the learning, the failure. They scroll all day watching other people win and then wonder why they're stuck. Let me be very clear. If your entire motivation is money, you will quit the moment it gets hard, and it always gets hard. Money is not the goal. Money is the applause. Skill is the performance. Think about it. The people who win long term, really win, are dangerous with their craft. They can lose everything today and rebuild tomorrow because what they own isn't cash, it's capability. Skills don't disappear. Markets change, platforms change, trends die, but skill travels. Most people are playing short-term games. They jump from idea to idea, business to business, hoping one thing hits. That's not strategy, that's gambling. Real players do the boring work. They master one thing, they obsess, they suck for a long time, and then suddenly everyone calls them lucky. Let me tell you something about luck. Luck looks a lot like skill to people who didn't put in the work. Most people believe money is the asset, but that belief is exactly what keeps them stuck. Money is temporary. It moves, it disappears, it gets spent, lost, taxed, or taken by bad decisions. Skill, on the other hand, stays with you. Skill is what actually creates money, not the other way around. When you focus only on money, you're focusing on the symptom, not the cause. That's why so many people make a little money once and then can't repeat it. They didn't build the engine, they just got lucky for a moment. Skill is leverage. Skill gives you options. If you know how to communicate, sell, create, solve problems, or build something valuable, you are never broke. You're just temporarily between wins. Someone with real skill can lose everything today and rebuild tomorrow because their value lives inside them, not in their bank account. That's a powerful position to be in. And most people underestimate it because it doesn't look flashy in the beginning. Chasing money forces you to think short term. You start asking, how fast can I get paid instead of how good can I get? That mindset leads to shortcuts, weak foundations, and burnout. When the money slows down, motivation disappears because money was the only reason you started. But when you chase skill, the process itself becomes the reward. You show up to learn, to improve, to sharpen your edge, and the money naturally follows because the market always pays for value. The truth is, money is a lagging indicator. It shows up after the work, not before it. People see the results and assume that's the starting point, but it's not. Behind every sustainable income is a stack of invisible reps, failed attempts, uncomfortable learning, unpaid effort, and patience. Skill compounds quietly. Every hour you invest in getting better stacks on top of the last one. And over time, that compound effect becomes undeniable. When you treat skill as the asset, you stop panicking about short-term income. You start making smarter decisions. You're willing to take lower pay if it means higher learning. You're willing to stay longer in uncomfortable phases because you understand you're building something permanent. Money made without skill creates anxiety because you're afraid of losing it. Money made from skill creates confidence because you know you can do it again. At the end of the day, money respects skill. It follows it. It chases it. The moment you become genuinely good at something the world needs, money becomes a side effect, not the obsession. That shift in thinking changes everything from how you work to how you learn to how you see success itself. When people chase fast cash, they unknowingly train their brain to think in shortcuts. Every decision becomes about immediate return, not long-term growth. How quickly can this pay me? Replaces, will this make me better? That kind of thinking is dangerous because it limits how far you can go. Short-term thinking feels exciting at first because it promises quick relief, but it quietly caps your future. Fast money pushes people into reactive mode. They jump on trends they don't understand, copy strategies they didn't build, and quit the moment results slow down. There's no patience, no depth, no foundation. It becomes a cycle of hype and disappointment. When the shortcut stops working, panic sets in because there's nothing underneath to fall back on. No real ability, no transferable skill, just memories of what worked once. Short-term thinking also kills creativity. When you're obsessed with immediate profit, you stop experimenting. You avoid risk unless it's guaranteed, and real growth never comes with guarantees. The best ideas, the most powerful skills, and the strongest personal brands all come from long-term commitment. They require time to develop, space to fail, and the freedom to be bad before being good. Fast cash thinking doesn't allow for that. It demands perfection on day one, which is impossible. Another problem with chasing quick money is that it trains impatience. The moment progress slows, people assume they're doing something wrong. They don't realize that slow progress is still progress. Real skills take time to show results because they're compounding beneath the surface. Just like going to the gym, you don't see change after one workout, but if you quit early, you guarantee no results at all. Short-term thinking also weakens decision-making. Instead of choosing opportunities that build leverage over time, people choose whatever pays now, even if it costs them growth. They stay busy but don't move forward. They're working, but they're not building. Activity gets mistaken for progress, and years pass without real momentum. When you stop chasing fast cash, your mindset shifts. You begin to play longer games. You're willing to invest time, energy, and even money into learning something deeply. You accept being uncomfortable because you understand the payoff isn't immediate, but it's inevitable if you stay consistent. Long-term thinking creates calm. It removes desperation and replaces it with confidence. The irony is that people who think long-term often end up making more money faster than those chasing quick wins. That's because they build something solid, skills, reputation, trust, that keeps paying them again and again. Short-term thinking creates pressure. Long-term thinking creates power. Money comes and goes, but skill keeps growing. That's the fundamental difference most people miss. When you earn money, its value stays the same or slowly decreases as you spend it. When you build a skill, its value increases the more you use it. Every time you practice, apply, or refine a skill, it stacks on top of what you already know. That's compounding, and it's far more powerful than any paycheck. Skills don't just compound in one direction. One strong skill opens the door to others. Learning how to communicate better improves your leadership, your sales ability, your confidence, and even your personal relationships. Learning how to create content teaches you marketing, storytelling, and audience psychology at the same time. Skills multiply each other. Money doesn't do that unless you already have knowledge and discipline behind it. Another reason skills compound longer than money is because they travel with you. You can change jobs, industries, cities, or even countries, and your skills still work. Platforms rise and fall, but the ability to adapt, learn, and execute stays valuable everywhere. Someone with strong skills is never starting from zero, even when they start something new. They're starting with experience, perspective, and confidence built over time. Money can create comfort, but it doesn't automatically create growth. In fact, without skill, money often makes people weaker. It removes urgency without increasing ability. That's why people who inherit or win money without building anything often lose it. They haven't developed the habits, thinking, or discipline required to sustain it. Skill forces growth. It demands effort, reflection, and improvement, which makes you stronger over the long run. Compounding skills also create resilience. When something fails, and it will, you don't collapse. You analyze, adjust, and try again. Every failure becomes data instead of defeat. That mindset doesn't come from having money. It comes from doing the work repeatedly and learning through experience. Over time, this creates a massive advantage over people who rely on a single win or a lucky break. The longer you commit to building a skill, the more unfair the advantage becomes. Early on, it feels slow and invisible, which is why most people quit. But years later, that same skill produces results with less effort because the foundation is already there. What once required extreme focus becomes natural. That's the power of compounding. Small, consistent effort turning into exponential results. When you understand this, you stop obsessing over short-term income and start obsessing over long-term ability. You realize that a skill built today can pay you for decades, while money earned today can disappear tomorrow. Over time, the gap between people who chase money and people who chase skill becomes impossible to ignore. People love to talk about luck because it feels comforting. It removes responsibility. If success is just luck, then failure isn't personal. But the reality is much harsher and much more empowering at the same time. What most people call luck is usually patience combined with obsession. It's the willingness to stay in the game long after the excitement is gone and the results are slow. Patience is not doing nothing. Patience is doing the work without seeing immediate rewards. It's waking up every day and showing up even when there's no validation, no applause, and no clear proof that it's working. Most people aren't lacking talent or opportunity. They're lacking patience. They quit too early because they expected progress to be fast. Obsession is what keeps you going during that quiet phase. Obsession doesn't mean working mindlessly or burning yourself out. It means caring deeply. It means thinking about your craft when nobody is forcing you to. It's curiosity that doesn't shut off. It's the desire to understand, improve, and push a little further every day. When you're obsessed, learning doesn't feel like sacrifice. It feels natural. That's why obsessed people outwork everyone without feeling like they're working. Luck favors those who are still around when the opportunity appears. If you quit early, you never even get a chance to be lucky. The person who looks like they blew up overnight usually spent years building quietly. When the moment finally arrived, they were ready to execute. Preparation met opportunity, and the world called it luck. Patience creates emotional stability. Instead of panicking when things don't work, you stay calm. You understand that progress isn't linear. There will be slow periods, setbacks, and moments where it feels pointless. Obsession keeps you engaged during those moments, while patience stops you from making desperate decisions that sabotage long-term growth. People who rely on luck wait. People who rely on patience and obsession build. They don't need perfect conditions. They create momentum through consistency. Over time, their skills sharpen, their confidence grows, and their reputation starts to form. By the time results show up, they've already done most of the hard work. This combination always beats raw talent without discipline. It beats motivation without consistency. It beats hype without substance. Anyone can be excited for a week. Very few can stay committed for years. That's the real separator. Not intelligence, not connections, not luck. The market doesn't care about your intentions, your effort, or how badly you want to succeed. It rewards results. It rewards value. And the people who get paid the most are the ones who can just the ability to stay obsessed and patient long enough for the work to compound. Consistently deliver something others can't. Skill is the currency the market actually recognizes. Titles don't matter. Degrees don't guarantee anything. Excuses don't convert. Only ability does. Every market works the same way. Problems create demand, and skills solve problems. The more complex or valuable the problem you can solve, the more the market is willing to pay you. That's why the most skilled people in any room have leverage. They don't beg for opportunities. Opportunities find them. They can negotiate better, choose better projects, and walk away from bad deals because their skill gives them options. The market is brutally honest. It gives instant feedback. If nobody is paying attention, buying, hiring, or listening, that's data, not a personal attack. Instead of getting emotional, skilled people adjust. They refine their craft, improve their delivery, and increase their value. Over time, this constant feedback loop sharpens them even further, creating a gap that becomes very hard to close. What's important to understand is that the market always shifts. Industries change. Technology evolves. Consumer behavior moves. The people who survive and thrive are not the ones attached to a single method, but the ones attached to learning. Their core skill isn't just technical ability, it's adaptability. They know how to learn new tools, understand new platforms, and respond to new demands faster than everyone else. Being the most skilled person in the room doesn't mean knowing everything. It means being the most prepared, the most curious, and the most committed to improvement. It's the person who listens closely, studies patterns, and puts in the extra reps when others are distracted. Over time, that consistency compounds into mastery, and mastery is magnetic. People trust it, they pay for it, they recommend it. The market also rewards those who can communicate their skill clearly. Being great in silence helps no one. Skilled individuals who learn how to explain, demonstrate, and package their ability create even more value. That's why visibility paired with skill is unstoppable. One without the other always struggles. In the end, the market doesn't randomly choose winners. It follows value. It follows usefulness. It follows skill. When you focus on becoming undeniably good at something people need, money stops being uncertain. You're no longer hoping for a break. You've built something the market can't ignore. This speech reminds us that real success isn't built by chasing money, but by building skills that create value. Money is temporary, but skill compounds, travels with you, and pays you back for a lifetime. When you stop looking for shortcuts and commit to patience, obsession, and long-term growth, the market responds. Mastery creates confidence, options, and freedom. And when you focus on becoming genuinely valuable, money stops being the goal and starts being the result. Thank you.